Hey everyone, it's Shelby. Welcome back to my channel. And before I share my menu plan this week, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update because I really haven't been on YouTube too much or social media or anything. March has not been kind to me. I'll just say that. You all know that I have that chronic shoulder injury from 2003, and like every year or two it flares up and it gives me a little grief. Well, that was going on the first part of the month. And then when I went back to the doctor, she had drawn some lab works and she discovered I was vitamin D deficient. It explains so many things because I was so tired. I just felt fatigued and I was a little bit down my mood. And I'm a happy person. Y'all know I'm happy every day. And it was also exacerbating, the vitamin D deficiency was exacerbating the arthritis in my shoulder, making it really painful. So anyway, I've been on vitamin D like mega doses for 3 weeks. I feel great as far as that goes, and my shoulder feels good. It's just like a miracle. Well, fast forward. These college kids brought home that bug that's been going around, and it went through each of them. Like one would have it and he'd get almost better, then the next one would get it, so on and so on and so on. And I held out to the very end. I was like washing my hands, sanitizing everything in the house, but I finally succumbed to it. And Ken was the best nurse ever. He was so wonderful. I just have to give him a little shout out because he took such good care of me. He kept me, I still have a little tickle, but he kept me, bringing my medicine on time and my drinks and ice water and just checking in on me. And I was just like, wow, I've just felt so loved. But now he has it. So now it's my turn to reciprocate. He's almost better. He said yesterday he was feeling pretty good and I'm just letting him sleep in today. But anyway, I tell you, I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for the sunshine. I'm ready to get out there in my garden. And yeah, but what got me through, I'll go back to my meal plan here. What got me through this week, because I was so tempted to order pizza and Chinese food and all that, because I wasn't hungry, but I still had to feed the kids. What got me through, y'all, was my compound garlic butter. It's my favorite kitchen hack. I keep it in the freezer. You make it with, when butter's on sale, I buy a bunch of butter, and then you put garlic, shallots, parsley, lemon zest, lemon juice, salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil, and you mix it all together and you roll it into a log and you put it in saran wrap, and then I put them in a Ziploc baggie. I make like, a few pounds of it. And when you want it, you just take it out of the freezer, you cut off a piece that you need, and you throw it into whatever you're cooking, and it just gives that burst of flavor. I mean, you could take pasta and boil it and put some of that compound garlic butter on it, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and you could get by with a salad and have dinner. And so this week, it was just like, I didn't do a meal plan at the beginning of the week. It was just kind of like, oh my gosh, it's 4:30. What am I going to do? And I just was like, compound garlic butter. And so I used it in almost every dinner that I made this week. But anyway, if you guys haven't seen that video, I did a tutorial video on that years ago. And I know a lot of you have made it and you swear by it. I'll link it in the description box along with the recipe, the printed recipe, so you guys could see it. It's a wonderful one to have. You just stow it away in your freezer and you pull it out when you need it. You can put it on garlic bread. You can make shrimp scampi with it. I threw it in some vegetables just to give them that burst of flavor this week, roasted them in the oven. I went easy this week. But anyway, I just want to share that with you. So the theme of this week's meal plan is what's for dinner at 4:30? Break out the garlic butter and let's get something on the plate. All right, let me turn the camera around and show you what I came up with. On Monday, I made shrimp scampi. I had some frozen shrimps and I had some of that garlic butter in the freezer. This meal came together so easy and it was super delicious. I felt like I was I don't know, in a 5-star restaurant. It was so, so good. For dinner tonight, I made a baked shrimp scampi using my garlic compound butter that I keep in the freezer. Totally easy dinner to do. We're serving it with asparagus and heirloom tomato salad. I'm making some baked shrimp scampi, and I'm using these little custard dishes. I thought it'd be kind of cute for individual portion size. And I'm just drizzling a little bit of olive oil onto each of them. And I'm also going to take some white wine and just drizzle a little bit on it as well. Maybe a teaspoon full onto each of these. That looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to add salt and pepper. I've taken all of the shells off, obviously. I'm going to season them with a little salt and pepper. All right. And then I'm going to use a garlic butter to flavor this up. I went ahead and took some of that compound garlic butter that I make and I smeared it on top. And I'll link the video on how to make that in the description box. It's a wonderful recipe to have on hand because you can make it and shape it in the form of a log and then keep it in your freezer. And then when you want to use some, you just pull some out. The next thing I'm going to do is just take a handful of panko breadcrumbs and top each of these. After you put the panko breadcrumbs on top, I'm going to place it in a preheated 425 degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes until the top gets golden brown and everything's all bubbly and the shrimp is cooked. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Especially if you have that compound garlic butter in your freezer. Totally simple dinner. To plate up the dinner, I'm just going to serve it with some asparagus. And I think I'm going to use some of these beautiful heirloom tomatoes and just drizzle a little bit of ranch dressing on top. Keeping it so simple tonight, but it's going to be a delicious dinner. I have some microgreens that I harvested from my garden. Put those on there. And that's what we're having for dinner. On Tuesday, I made chicken marsala and risotto. It's one of our tried and true family favorites. I have videos on both of these tutorial videos. I'll link both of those in the description box. I did use some of the garlic butter at the very end into the risotto. I have never done that before. Oh my gosh, it added so much flavor that I think I'll probably make my risotto that way from now on. Usually I just add like a little knob of butter at the very end to make it really glossy and thicken it up, but I added the compound garlic butter. Oh my gosh, wonderful. Tonight I'm making chicken marsala with a risotto, and I'm just going to meal prep it and just have it ready for dinner tonight. I'm making some risotto. I have some olive oil in the pan, and I have an onion that I cooked low and slow for about a half an hour. I just added the risotto, and I'm going to cook this for a few minutes in the oil and the onions before I add anything else. I actually have a video, a tutorial on how to make risotto from start to finish. I can link that in the description box if you would like. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the risotto will get like a little white dot in the middle of it. And that's when I add a little bit of wine just to deglaze the pan. I'm just going to stir this until all of the wine is evaporated, and then I'll slowly start adding hot, boiling chicken stock a little at a time and just keep stirring. It takes 23 minutes to make the risotto. but it's going to be so, so good. I use arborio rice. I don't know if I mentioned that, but when you cook it in this manner, what happens is the rice lets off the starch and it makes a really creamy, creamy, creamy sauce. Delish. Most of the wine has been incorporated, and I'm going to start adding some hot chicken stock, a little at a time. I'll keep stirring, and when this starts to tighten up and absorb all of that stock, then I'll add a little bit more. And you do this, it takes 23 minutes, I have found. It's been 23 minutes, and I'm going to turn off the heat. The rice is cooked through. I'm adding 6 ounces of Parmesan cheese, and I'm also going to add a little dollop of that compound garlic butter. You could use regular butter, just at the very end. Keep stirring for a couple minutes until the cheese can melt, and just incorporate into the risotto. You can see it's already tightening up. Tonight I'm making some chicken marsala for dinner, and I have chicken cutlets lightly dusted in flour, salt, and pepper. I'm frying them up in some olive oil. I'm going to do them in smaller batches like this until I get all of the chicken fried. After you brown up all the chicken, I just added a shallot, and I'm just going to cook this for a few minutes. I want it to get soft. I'm going to add a tablespoon of compound garlic butter. It's been a lifesaver this week. To the pan, I'm going to add some sliced mushrooms. Let them soften up a little bit. Now that the mushrooms have sweated out a little bit, I'm going to turn off the heat. You can see all that brown bits on the bottom of the pan. I'm adding Marsala wine to deglaze the pan. Marsala. And then I'm going to scrape all the bits and pieces off the bottom of the pan. Turn the heat back on. I'm going to cook this until the alcohol cooks off. I'm going to return the chicken to the pan and just nestle the chicken in there. And then I'm going to top all of it with some hot chicken broth just to cover. And I'm just going to let this cook and reduce over the next half hour. Go ahead and put the sauce over the chicken. I'm just meal prepping this earlier in the day for dinner tonight. We can heat this up. Kind of a monochromatic, so you could add a little bit of parsley just to give it a little bit of color. Maybe serve it with a veg, something like that. Might be kind of nice. That's what it looks like, chicken marsala with risotto. I'll put both of the tutorial video links in the description box below. On Wednesday, I put a big pot of spaghetti sauce on to cook, homemade spaghetti sauce. Now I have two videos on my channel. One is like a family recipe spaghetti sauce, homemade, and it's really good. And then the other one is like the traditional real deal Sunday gravy with brochol's and stuff that you would make for a holiday dinner. And I slathered on that garlic butter on some French bread, toasted it off in the oven. The kids made a salad, and dinner was so easy. I had enough sauce left over that I recycled it later in the week. Tonight for dinner, we're having spaghetti with meat sauce and garlic bread with a tossed salad. We had leftover spaghetti from the night before, so I just put it in some meal prep containers, and the boys had that for lunch. So for dinner, they weren't really that hungry because they had a pretty hearty lunch. So I just made some pan-seared chicken cutlets, and I made a sauce out of a little bit of lemon, some of that compound garlic butter, and cream. And the combination was such a winner. It was, even Ken commented on it that the sauce had a very subtle lemon flavor. It wasn't overpowering at all. Like sometimes like lemon piccata and stuff like that could just be like too lemony. It was so well balanced, and I think that garlic butter really enhanced that dish a lot. Super easy. It took minutes to cook. I served it with broccolini, and that was dinner. For dinner tonight, I'm just gonna make a very quick dinner, pan searing some chicken cutlets and using some of that compound garlic butter that I have in the freezer. It's just going to give it a big boost of flavor. Make a cream sauce and serving it with broccolini. Quick dinner tonight. I'm frying up some chicken cutlets. I dusted them with flour. I have some olive oil and some of that compound garlic butter, and I'm just going to fry these up. The chicken has some good color on it. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice. You could add a little bit of wine. Just want a little acid. You just want a little acid. And I'm going to scrape up the bottom, get all that good flavor. Make a little pan sauce. I'm going to add some heavy whipping cream, just about halfway up the chicken, and I'm just going to let this simmer and let the chicken finish cooking. The sauce has reduced and the chicken is now cooked all the way through, so I'm going to get dinner plated. At the very end, I'm going to add another tablespoon of that garlic compound butter and just work it in. It's going to make the sauce very shiny and also give it a little boost of flavor. Just keep stirring until it's all melted and incorporated into the sauce. See how it's really shiny now and it kind of thickened up the sauce? I do that a lot. Just add a little knob of butter at the end to any pan sauce, really. Just getting ready to plate it up. I'm going to put the chicken with the broccolini, and then we're going to get the sauce on top. Then finally, we're just going to add a little bit of that pan sauce right on top. And that's what we're having for dinner. So that's what we're having for dinner. Pan seared chicken cutlet with lemon garlic cream sauce and broccolini. Friday, Ken cooked some steaks on the grill. He brandied some mushrooms. I have a video on this. He went and looked at my video and he actually brandied the mushrooms. The kids helped him bake some potatoes and they made some broccoli, and they served me dinner in bed because I wasn't feeling good at all on Friday. And it was so delicious. I don't know why it tastes so much better when someone makes it for you, cooks it for you, but it does. And one thing that he said is he took a little pat of that garlic butter. When the steaks were done, he put a little pat of it on top of it and it kind of melted on the top of the steak. I don't know what it was, but it was delicious. I think it made a big difference, and I think we'll do that from now on. Tonight, Ken fixed dinner because I caught a cold. Usually I don't get sick, but I did this year. And he made a steak with some brandied mushrooms and some broccoli. And I guess him and the boys are having baked potatoes. I didn't really care for one tonight. But I'm just like so impressed.
He just makes you fall in love with them all over again. I tell you what. Anyway, that's what we're having for dinner.
On Saturday, I recycled the spaghetti sauce and made some rigatoni, put some mozzarella cheese, some Parmesan cheese in it, kind of mixed it all up. Meal prepped it for the kids in containers. There was salad left over, so that's what they had for dinner. Ken and I were just not, we weren't hungry, Saturday, but the kids enjoyed it. They snacked on it all weekend long. There was, I think I made 6 or 7 meal preps out of what was left over, so it worked out really good. I went ahead and took the leftover spaghetti sauce and made some rigatoni, and then I blended in a little bit of mozzarella cheese and made these rigatoni preps for the kids out of the leftover spaghetti sauce. I think I got 7 of them. For Sunday dinner, I pulled out some pork chops that I had marinating in some peppercorn whiskey marinade in the freezer. Ken grilled them, and then I made some scalloped potatoes using some of the compound garlic butter. I know a bunch of you guys have made these scalloped potatoes before. They are delish. I'll put the video link. I did a cook with me video on them. They are great for Easter, serving it with like a ham and some veg, whatever. So delicious and super easy. And very cheap too, because you use like, potatoes and you peel and cut them. Very, very inexpensive dish, but it's so good. And I had asparagus left over, and I had a few tomatoes left over this week in the vegetable bin. So I roasted the tomatoes with a little bit of olive oil, put a little Parmesan on top of them, and that was Sunday dinner. So I made it through the week, you guys. Tonight for dinner, we're having grilled pork chops that have been marinated in a peppercorn whiskey sauce. Serving it with homemade, delicious scalloped potatoes using that garlic compound butter, asparagus, and some roasted tomatoes. I'm making some scalloped potatoes as a side dish for dinner tonight, and I'm using some of that compound garlic butter. I have a tutorial on the scalloped potatoes. I'll put it in the description box below, but I just want to show you how versatile it is. You can use it in so many ways, and I'm just going to get this into the oven, and it makes the most glorious scalloped potatoes ever. I have some heirloom tomatoes here. I put a little bit of olive oil, some of that compound garlic butter, salt and pepper into a 400-degree oven they go. When the tomatoes came out of the oven, I just sprinkled it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. They look wonderful. Ken's grilling up some pork chops. I think they are peppercorn whiskey marinade, and they look delicious. Just plating up dinner tonight. Put the pork chop on there. These scalloped potatoes are so good, it'll rip your face right off. So that's what our plates look like. It smells delicious. Yum, yum. I am so hungry. I haven't been hungry all week, and now I'm hungry tonight, so I'm going to enjoy this dinner. As far as our grocery haul this week, it was very minimal. One of the boys ran up to the store. They got lettuce, cherry tomatoes, broccolini, asparagus, mushrooms, broccoli, milk, Italian loaf bread, and that was it. Well, that was my meal plan this week. Thank goodness for the garlic butter. And thank you guys for spending this time with me. This next week, my goal is to clean this house from top to bottom, like deep, deep spring clean this house. I don't want any more sickness. I'm ready for spring. I want to get the inside of the house cleaned so that as weather gets better, I can make my way out to the garden. I've already started a bunch of seedlings. I'll have to show you guys that in another video. But I already have all kinds of peppers, a whole bunch of different varieties, poblanos, serranos, just a whole bunch. And a whole bunch of tomatoes. I'm doing a ton ton of Roma tomatoes this year. I hope to get a good harvest so I can do some canning. I love to can my own marinara sauce in glass. There's nothing like it. And let's see, what else have I started? Oh, I started some plants, flowers for the hanging baskets. And I've started lettuce, lots of lettuce, and broccoli, cauliflower. I need to get some celery seed and get that started. And I think that's about it. But yeah, so I'll show you guys that this week. It's pretty cool. Ken has quite the setup. He's the master at figuring stuff out. You know, the grow lights, he did all that. And he did it on the cheap too. So anyway, I got my little seedlings going. I have my onions and potatoes and asparagus roots ready. They're already here. So as soon as we can start working that soil, I'm gonna get those in. You know, I can't wait. Can't wait to get out in that garden, you guys. It's been a long time coming. But anyway, thank you for joining me this week. Happy Monday. Happy meal planning. And you guys knock it out of the park this week. Talk to you guys later.